a specific slide or something because I feel like that's better. So it like
How
if
many
we
do we
do
have
need
right
it,
now?
we only have 13, but it's like stopping on a specific slide just makes it so
Maybe
like
cut it like
we can.
25 or
That's what
30
I
or
was
something.
thinking.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
like we stop on 25 and just not mention it so we get as many people to send me their emails as possible.
Yeah, yeah,
Sure.
that's fine.
Cool.
We're already recording and live here, but we will see them as they pop in here and kind of go from there.
Cool.
Um, NBA will be fun tonight, though. I'm excited to see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm hyped. I feel like Rui might be undervalued.
That's something that I was kind of looking at and wondering myself. Because it's like, he was getting a lot of minutes. They didn't really change, like, that much in that offense. Or just team in general.
Yeah, totally. And they've
Ah,
spent
it's
an
the
entire
Gato.
off season
It's
with
little
him on
bro.
the roster.
He said, "A fuck out of here." He seed me.
Yeah, Deb.
What up, Nick? But yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like more things to stream though that are just gonna be more entertaining. Because it's like I don't know what else to say about fantasy football besides must starts anymore. And fantasy basketball, it's not like all right, you have to start freaking Steph Curry tonight. Like I don't know, it's all waivers and stuff.
It'd be fun if we had like an account we could use to like build portfolios for a week, like in a certain sport live on stream, you know?
Yeah, I tried asking about that, and that basically
That would
got
be
shot
sweet if
down.
all three of us contribute to it.
Yeah, exactly. And like we do things every week where we like build the portfolio and
That would
track
be
it.
awesome. I feel like that's
Right.
pretty doable, no?
Yeah,
I
I feel like it is.
It's apparently because like it messes with the pricing or whatever. Is like why I got shut down. I was like, bruh, like why not? Um, but is what it
Yeah,
is.
what yeah. Definitely something to try to I feel like maybe ideate in the future though, like if we can bring that back somehow, that idea back.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want. I just think there's like we can do more stuff from like a social standpoint. It's just like what exactly can't we do? Um, so I don't know. But we'll go ahead and get ripping here before I go into the same semblance of circles that I normally run into. But yeah, we were right about Darren Waller this week. I think that was the only thing I technically really got right. I haven't really done too much in the content because it's just been. It was a weird week in NFL, in my opinion. Like, nothing that really was supposed to happen happened.
Yeah, it was kind of a
Don't
wild
forget
week.
about the kid.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
something happened that was
Except
supposed
Grant
to
got one
happen.
thing right, so we'll give him his place to stand on. Jameer Gibbs getting that late tutty, and that's all that matters.
The
Grant's career is
the game
intact.
script couldn't have been worse for it to happen, and it was so inevitable that it still happened.
That was crazy.
It was just written in the stars that he was going to score and have a good week.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It's a new week. Who knows in the future now what it holds for him in his future? But hey, we got one down.
Yeah.
We need your sources, bro.
We need those sources. I wonder if one thing for why it doesn't give you as many viewers on the desktop is because like I put it in the desktop mode, whereas if I changed it maybe to like how it appears in the phone, that would change things. But we'll play around with that later, and I'll figure out
Perhaps.
something. But we got some questions in here in the chat. We'll answer a few real quick. So we got trade Amari, Ridley, and Foreman for T and Rashad. I want the Amari Cooper side in that one, just because I do think that Amari and Ridley will be relevant, whereas T and Rashad.
Yeah, I don't mind the trading away of Foreman idea. I just like I don't know why you would go for Rashad White as a piece this point. Like he's kind of been in a wide open offense and is averaging less than 10 fantasy points a game. Like
Yeah. Let's see here. We got Kareem Hunt or Darrell Henderson. I think you're asking for this week. I'd probably go with Kareem Hunt. Let's see here.
Henderson is going to be the guy there though this week. So
Yeah. Let's see here. But we'll go ahead and start into this. Oh wait, well I saw this one earlier. It's at the beginning of stream. Should you trade Cup for Sutton and Pollard? I'd prefer the Cup side. Let's see here. And would you trade Ridley and Foreman for, I'm assuming, James Cook?
Ridley and Foreman for James Cook. Probably. I mean,
I would be trying to move out at Ridley personally. I'd be trying to buy super cheap on him. I'm just not convinced that he's irrelevant.
Yeah, I think that might be a sneakier move on the side of the James Cook, on the James Cook side of the trade.
but selling on Foreman, I think is fine. Like I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, he will
I'd be
never
selling
be
on
as good as he
Foreman.
was this week, and he will. I mean, his value is only going down as more guys get healthy. So
He was a healthy
Oh,
scratch multiple
like,
times this season.
Before
Yeah.
this week, though, Ridley and Kirk were like neck and neck, and I feel like his value just dropped too low because of like one super bad week.
Yeah, he's
no,
just
for sure.
had a
Yeah.
few bad weeks is all.
I'm not fully out on Ridley, but I think that's more just Ridley for Cook. Like I think the Foreman side isn't too valuable going forward after maybe this week.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to get started on the first team here. But before we do that, we'll have Jackson tell you exactly how to get your team rated here if you want to get your team rated and are not part of it already.
Yep. If you want to get your team looked at on this stream, just go to the link in our TikTok bio. It's for our Discord. Once you're in there, just send me a direct message at Jamario Moon on the Discord, and I'll help get you set up and get your team on this stream tonight.
Let's see here.
Trying to monitor the live on here.
Would you prefer to have, let's see here, Amari or Ridley rest of the season? I feel like I'd want Ridley right now because he's still attached to a good quarterback. Whereas, like, Amari,
Have
we
you
really
lost
don't.
all faith in Deshaun?
It's not so much lost faith. It just seems like such a weird spot. It's his shoulder one week. It's his head the next. It's a whole.
He also just
thing.
sucks even when he plays, though.
Yeah, like really.
It's a weird one.
Yeah.
Him and Russ are two of the weirdest situations I've ever seen.
I just figured like a few years essentially separated from the money type deal of like I figure all right, first year crashes and burns, second year like redemption type deal when it comes to the contracts that they both got because they're just insane and just never happened. But we'll go ahead and get started on the first team here. I'm assuming they just haven't put in. Their
Yeah,
next
they got
running
mad
back.
backs on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, looks like the investments have kind of paid off here to a degree on that side of things. Lots of receiver. I'd be trying to sell here off of all the pieces you have sitting on your bench for an RB2. I think Pierce can definitely be that, but I think you need something that's a little bit more like guaranteed at this point because you have just a bunch of random pieces like Jerome Ford's now doubtful. Kyron Williams is on IR. Like the running back spot, you have plethora of like options to use, but like I would be trying to use that plethora to like really build that second spot there. And
Yeah,
I,
you have
you guys-
every random running back.
Yeah, like all the new pickups.
Yeah, I'm
that's
in
like
I'm
3
in a
weeks.
similar situation in one of my leagues, and I mean I would be comfortable starting Foreman or Henderson depending on news of injuries and stuff like that this week in that RB slot, but I would definitely be looking to make some moves in the future because eventually you're going to be starting Achon or Kyron there, and the rest of those guys are worthless. So if there's someone in your league that needs wins now and is struggling on finding running backs to throw in, I would trade like all three of those guys even.
Are you guys worried at all about Singletary for Damon Pierce?
it's definitely something to theoretically be concerned about. I just can't get an actual read on it because it's 1 week Singletary actually matters, and then it's the next he doesn't matter. So I'll leave
It's
it
tough
with
to monitor.
yeah.
I think Damian Pierce is the better player. Maybe Singletary just fits more what kind of they're looking for with a guy who's been in the league a little bit longer. But I mean, Pierce still out-carried him and has out-carried him every week. He's just been super inefficient, and a lot of that is still with that O-line that struggled so far. But
Did he not get out carried the week before the bye?
win like 4 weeks ago?
I think
Or,
it's been
like-
pretty much like a 50-50 split for the most part.
Oh, last week he
Yeah.
had 13 carries and Singletary had 11, I think. So it was close, but before that, yeah, I mean it's definitely decreased a little bit as time has gone on.
Yeah. Overall, that's really the only real recommendations for this team because the receiver slot is also fine just because it's like, just focus on building up the running back. ASN's value is also climbing, so I wouldn't really be trading away JSN right now, but that's just me. Next one we got here, we got Lamar Jackson, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Eckler, Pollard, Laporta, Rice, who's starting to come to form. Yeah, I mean, very solid team. My only concern is that like your running back has literally zero depth. So this past week must have been a little bit difficult because there was no Tony Pollard and you got 5 points out of Eckler. Like, you just need more running back depth that you can toss in and kind of build up here.
I'm curious your take on the Hubbard and Miles Sanders situation, Wells, because I mean he in theory could be their lead running back, and that's that depth you're talking about, but who knows?
My theory behind it mainly was that like it's always Miles Sanders' backfield. He just got injured, and that the injury has just lingered essentially at this point, and it's not really going away. So it's sort of Hubbard's backfield. But
Now that he's had a bye week, do you think that the injury will be in a better spot because he's had 2 full weeks to kind of figure it out?
I think it's going to be a 50-50 split for the rest of the season at this rate. I just don't think this groin injury is going to go away, like, at all.
Yeah.
Is it okay to have Eckler and Keenan? Yeah, I think it's more than fine to have both of those guys. They're going to be highly concentrated. Eckler is going to get more involved in the passing game. At least I'd like to think that's going to be the case.
Also, very positive game script this
yeah.
upcoming week. I would think you got to think Tyson Bagent has a fall down to earth week, and the Chargers run away with this one a little bit. So I would assume there should be a lot of work on the ground there.
Congrats to that guy. First ever NFL start. Gets the W.
Yeah, that was crazy.
For real.
D2 Heisman.
Bless you.
Thank you. But yeah, that's not really too much on this team other than like I recommend getting like another running back just because it's like I do want to have that rotational piece if needed. Even though I can realistically count on Eckler and Pollard pretty much every week. Actually, I think both of them are now completely past bye weeks. Right?
Who?
Isn't the Chargers already have their bye week as well?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Okay, then yeah, never mind. Completely ignore that. This is fine. If anything, maybe try to get something that's going to be even better at wide receiver. But who knows? Maybe Rashee Rice will end up being that for you, which would be definitely interesting to see.
Or Deontay.
Or Deontay. But yeah, like it overall. And I'm not worried about Austin Eckler.
Drop the other kicker. Just start cycling defenses or something else, but there's no point having but 2.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that there's 2 kickers. Didn't like Maher get like fired or something? No, that's somebody else.
Wait, did he?
No.
Because I
Sorry.
literally picked up Butker off of waivers today. I was like, damn, that's why he got dropped.
Let's see here. CJ Stroud, Alvin Kamara, Austin Eckler, AJ Brown, DJ Moore.
Well, Brett Maher got cut today.
That's what it was.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Let's see here. Geno, Fields, Stroud. I don't know why you have 3 quarterbacks, but okay. Trying to think. Like, I just don't know the real story with Dalton Schultz. It just hasn't really been consistent. I actually have 4 quarterbacks, so that's really interesting.
Michael Mayer is not relevant, and I mean I don't know how deep this league is, but in a lot of leagues, Dalton Kincaid is on waivers right now, and he's my number 1 pickup this week by kind of a long shot. I would rather have him than Foreman or any of those random guys that excelled this week. With no Dawson Knox, I mean he's going to be getting all of the tight end targets, and Josh Allen definitely looks at his tight ends a good amount, especially in the red zone. So I think Kincaid is posed for a huge like 2 or 3 weeks while he's recovering, and I mean Knox is undergoing surgery, so it could even be a month or so. So I think Kincaid is like a top 5 tight end during those weeks.
And you can't really even trade away Fields in this roster, even though that's I guess how you would go about this because like I really like the starting lineup realistically here. It's just like the tight end is just kind of sticking out as like a sore thumb. And I do think that's probably partially due to Tank Dell not really being relevant in the roster. I would just try to build up the tight end spot here. Like, you don't need four quarterbacks. And I'm sure if you have four quarterbacks, there might be somebody in the league who needs a quarterback with all the issues going on at quarterback right now. But yeah, that's really it. We got Tua, A.J. Brown, Jordan Addison, Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker, Michael Mayer, Isaiah Pacheco. 3 running backs I wish I drafted a lot more of this offseason. Let's see here.
Yeah, this is a group of running backs that at the beginning of the year, I think a lot of people weren't super high on, and you would have been concerned with that as your running back room, and now it's like one of the best. So
Yeah, now it's like an absolute like beast. Um, Denver defense. I don't know who they're playing in the future, but I hope it's good. To have them stashed, because that's a difficult one to have stashed.
they play Kansas City this week. They play. I don't think they're a start against any team.
It's got to be set up for the next week. Would be my guesstimation.
But like even that, I don't know.
Let's see here.
Yeah, pick up the
Broncos
Lions
next
here.
week play the Bills, so they have a bye and then the Bills.
Yeah, I don't know what that's doing then. I would get a different defense to prep for the future. I'd prefer to Collins and Bijan for Eckler. I'm still on the Bijan trade. I wouldn't overreact to him having a headache and not reporting it. I mean, I like this team as a whole. I just like having running backs for sustainability. Yeah, I mean, Addison's kind of in a really good spot for you right now. I'd almost say he's a bit of a sell high, just because, like, if Jefferson does come back in a few weeks, then Addison's role depletes.
Also, Mayer is not a guy I'm comfortable starting. He's
Yeah.
gotten zero work in the red zone, and I mean he had a very solid game against New England, but other than that, I mean he's caught like 3 passes the rest of the year. Like he's not a guy who's relevant now, at least in fantasy, and he's kind of falling into that rookie tight end kind of stereotype that Laporta's broken out of this year. But I think Mayer is not a guy that you're comfortable starting.
Yeah, you got to get him and Knox off the
Yeah.
roster.
Is this guy in Hawaii? That's pretty cool. Based on times,
Oh,
I think it's got to be Hawaii.
Oh yeah,
It's pretty sweet.
word.
7 a.m. slate.
Could you imagine that? Like,
That sucks.
you actually have to wake up early as hell in the morning if you want to watch football. That was the one thing I liked about going to Vegas was like basically when you woke up because you just go out all night. Like just all the games were on and ready to go.
Yeah, that's what I got.
That was
I enjoy this. I mean, because even like the night games are over at like 10 or something instead of like 1 in the morning. I much prefer the time zone here.
I'd prefer to like pregame to go out and so on with like a game. Like that's the only thing that sucks about like Florida and so on is like by the
It's going on
time the
while you're
game's
there,
done,
yeah.
it's like 1 in the morning. But
it's also nice on the West Coast. Like when you're waiting for an album to release, it's like 3
It's
hours.
at 9.
earlier.
Yeah.
So nice. That
Yeah.
was one of my favorite things, like about the time zones.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys would just get albums basically early. Who the hell is this Pogo Bounce Records? You're getting yeeted from the stream, Pogo Bounce. If I can figure out how to do this, I can. Block.
Guys, if you want to get your team rated like this, just go ahead and click the link in our TikTok bio. It's a link to our Discord. Once you're in there, just send me a DM at Jamario Moon, and I'll get you set up and get your team on the stream.
Would you prefer to go with Waddle or Pollard in the flex? That's insane. That's an option.
Pollard is. I mean, I get the concerns. He's been a little inconsistent, and they had a bye, but I think their offense before the bye wasn't really up to the standard that I think the Cowboys thought it would be at this point, and I think they will probably be installing a few new things, and I think Pollard gets a lot more involved after that. I think that's kind of the game plan they're going to look for. And I mean, he still must start for me. I'm not too concerned.
Yeah. But to finish off this team here, I do like what you have. I think you have a lot of pieces. Like, it's a weird, I wouldn't say inertia spot, but it's like you have a lot of pieces that were essentially like upswings. Jordan Addison ended up working out for you because of Justin Jefferson, realistically. And like Rashee Rice, Tank Dell, and Josh Downs are like all guys kind of like sort of becoming relevant in the world of fantasy football, but like are also kind of like still not really relevant. So I would try to build up your tight end spot here and maybe even your wide receiver too, just because I don't believe that Jordan Addison is going to be the most reliable for you here. And some of these players are starting to catch some steam. So
That win last night for the Vikings is huge for Justin Jefferson owners.
For
yeah,
real.
They play some bad teams coming up, and there's a chance he comes back in 2 or 3 weeks and they're like above 500, and then there's no chance he just sits down. So if
exactly,
you're a Jefferson owner, that is exactly what you wanted to happen last night.
exactly. Speaking of I'm probably going to try to figure out a few offers to go grab him. Speaking of that, but going here, we got C.J. Stroud, Saquon Barkley, Deonta Foreman, C.D. Lamb, Devonta Smith, Sam Laporta, Amari Cooper. I mean, very strong roster at this point. I think the whole Tank Bigsby theory has been debunked. Um, Najee Harris is just abysmal. I don't see like it just always makes my brain kind of hurt when I see Stafford, Prescott, and Stroud all on the same team. Just because it's like, why do you need three different quarterbacks and none of which are mobile? Fill out your roster elsewhere. I love the receivers. RB2 is obviously probably battled more injuries than just the Sanders thing, I would imagine here.
Would you be trading CD Lamb and like Rashad White for Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, I'd do that because I think Rashad White's a nobody realistically.
I would
Um,
agree.
let's see here. But yeah, I think this team is more than fine. Just the running back room really needs work. Deonta Foreman's not sustainable, and neither is Sanders or Harris, which I'm sure this team is fully aware of that. And maybe include one of your multitude of quarterbacks that you have. Like, that's really about it. I don't really want to downgrade this team in any fashion because it's like I like Sam Laporta, even though I do think that this role will diminish slightly as time progresses. And I like the receivers that you have here. But that's really about it. Maybe Sheet Rice could be on the block or Pickens, but Pickens' value just went down a lot, I think. Yeah, nothing too crazy for this team. And we have done 6. We're at Jared Goff, Walker, Ramondre, Ridley, Ayuk. I feel like I've just completely stopped looking at Ramondre as a whole. Like, has he done like anything over in New
He was,
England?
I feel like he was decent this week. I mean, I watched portions of the game, and he was at least like getting chunk plays where you could see him kind of turning up the field. I don't think he scored. Yeah, he caught 6 passes for 51 yards and then had 40 on the ground. So that's what 12 fantasy points or something without a touchdown. That's definitely a step in the right direction, I'd say.
Right direction does help. Um,
Yeah, but it's still whatever though. It's like I feel like it's a bit too late for a step in the right direction. Like for an emerging player, that'd be a good sign, or for someone maybe
No,
increasing
for
their
sure.
own share. Yeah.
But like based on the rest of the running backs he has and the guys on his bench,
Oh
there's
yeah.
not a ton of guys to move off of. I think you kind of got to just be diligent on waivers and try to make the right moves and hope Ramondre keeps ticking up in that direction because there's not many pieces to really try to go and improve there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, it's realistically a fine team. Like, there's really nothing that wrong with it. It's just like Ramondre is not ideal, as you can tell by the way we're talking about it. Pierce is not come into form like you need him to, at least yet. Maybe that'll change after this bye week. Maybe they'll have something figured out there. And Jeff Wilson, we just really don't know. Like, the big issues with this team is the flex and the RB2 here. But it's hard to really even, like, tier down. And by tier downs, we mean, like, doing 1-for-2s just to get some more sustainable players. And there's not really much on the bench, at least at this point in time, that you can really include that people would be interested in. Like, not a lot of people are going to be interested in trading for T-Law because Calvin Ridley hasn't really emerged to be this monster. Amari is just kind of a guy. J-Mo is not sustainable. And Michael Wilson is very up and down. And Jahan Dotson's just been replaced by Curtis Samuel somehow, which makes no sense, but that's a thing. But yeah, that's really coming back to it. Try to fix the running back spot, I guess, would be the main focus, and then fling it week to week to see who you can get in the flex. But Dameon Pierce should end up being fine. But yeah. Let's see here. We got Hurts, Smith, Ayuk, McCaffrey, Cook, Hawk, Flowers, White, with Nico and Pierce on the bench. Rice, Zach Evans. I really like this team, especially since it has Hawkinson here. I think he's just a great have. I think your running back room relatively is fine.
Doesn't seem like Zach Evans is really viable, so
yeah, Zach Evans just
get out there.
Really in the picture.
Yeah, I mean, that one always felt a little inflated. I never really thought that he was going to be that viable there. Just the second they start bringing up like multiple veterans, it
that have played in the system before.
Out on, yeah.
Let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, I do think that Anthony Davis is going to be good this season.
Anthony Davis? Someone's coming in.
Yeah, somebody just told me they put 10 on AD MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. That was the right word.
Both?
Yeah. Well, not like in the same ticket, but
yeah. That'd be something. There's no way he plays enough games, but him at his best is as good as anyone.
Yeah, it's not exactly, I feel like, a crazy take to say that AD is like a monster. You know, he just
happens to be good at basketball.
He does, yeah.
Just happens to be good at basketball.
I'd give you that one.
True, actually.
But going back to this team here, if he plays 70 games, he's MVP.
Maybe.
We got to get to 70 games first, and then we can have that conversation. I think that's the reality. I like this team. I mean, you add the buys, you have upswinging pieces, you've got pieces that really just are kind of hanging there. Like Gainwell's little breath of life was irrelevant. I'd go with Eckler rest of the season realistically over Brees, to be honest. But I want both of them on my team.
They're RB 2 and 3 probably for me the rest of the way. So
yeah, they're in similar positions. Let's see here. But yeah, like there's just a lot of like pieces on here that are just kind of hanging around. I really like Brandon Ayuk. I think he's just going to continue to get better here. I think Devonta Smith will get more consistent for you. I think McCaffrey's just keeping this team in a conversation that it needs to be. Like, just lots of really strong pieces. And I don't really want to be trading away too much of the kind of depth that you do have in that of Rashee Rice, Pierce, and Collins. Just because.
Yeah, what do you make of that Rashee Rice role? Do you think that's sustainable?
Part of me wonders if it's because of Justin Ross. Part of me also wonders if it's like just a thing, I guess, for a short term or a short portion of time.
They just have no like standout receiver that you can really point to and say like this is the guy that's going to get some of those targets on non-Kelsey plays, and in the last few weeks it's felt like it's him. So
yeah,
I mean I would be comfortable and glad to have him on my roster, but he's not like a guy that I'm starting week in, week out yet.
Yeah, I was expecting more out of Kadarius Toney, to be honest. I was really expecting him to
Yeah, it's
be
been
a bit of a
disappointing.
thing, and he's just not been there, like, at
Yeah, it
all.
almost hurts more that it's not because of injuries, or it definitely hurts more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, decent team here. See, we got Samuel Howell, Miles Sanders, Deontay Foreman. Check out the bench first before saying anything. I mean, you got Kyron Williams and Achon both on IR, so that sucks for you with B Rob. I don't know why B Rob's on the bench, but
But trading Kyron and Olave for Brees Hall.
I don't even know if I really like that, like at all. Um, but I mean, you're
I
upgrading
think
your
it's
running
fine.
back, which is fine. And who knows? Maybe Kyron's just
You have
completely
plenty of
irrelevant.
your receivers are plenty, like perfectly fine. Your running backs though, definitely sketchy. But once you get Achon back and maybe Brian Robinson picks it up a little bit, then you're fine there. Because
Yeah,
you're
I
starting
honestly don't mind that Brees Hall grab
you're
either,
gonna be starting
Grant.
Fields, Brees Hall, Achon, Chase, DJ Moore, Laporta, and then like a mix of Brian Robinson, Sanders. Like that's not too bad.
Yeah,
The upgrade is significant in my opinion.
yeah. Overall, solid team here. Receivers are fire. You've got some upswinging pieces on your bench that just take a little bit of time, and then yeah, not really too much else to say about this team other than like you are working on building up your running back spot, which is your weak point. Let's see here. We got Jared Goff, Ramondre Stevenson, Isaiah Pacheco, Jamar Chase, Marquise Brown, Devonta Smith, George Kittle, Schultz, and Metcalf. I mean, your kicker is a free agent, so you probably should get rid of him. Um, I just don't like Ramondre. I'd just be trying to build up my RB1 on this team. I think your wide receiver depth is okay. I don't
It's
think
pretty
that,
great,
like,
honestly.
JMO in particular is very sustainable. I find it interesting that you guys have your flex without being a running back. So maybe that makes running backs even more important. I don't know. Just because you can't put them in the flex spot.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty small bench. I would say more need help on the running back depth because
Yeah.
I mean you just only have Justice Hill there on bye weeks and in case of injury and stuff like that. So be diligent on waivers or maybe try to trade out of some guys or something like that. But the
Yeah.
receivers, I mean, compared to the running backs, are awesome because you have Metcalf just chilling there. Maybe trade DK for just a running back straight up because then you'll have three reliable receivers and three reliable running backs, or three reliable-ish running backs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could also do something like package up Marquise Brown with Kittle or something because you have a somewhat reliable tight end already on your bench and get a pretty sizable upgrade at the running back position.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But that's
Totally agree.
really about it for this specific team here. We're going to go over to CJ Stroud, Eckler, Bijan, who disappointed unfortunately this weekend, DJ Moore, Thielen, who's just come out of nowhere. The bench is barren, which just. Anyways. You got Ridley and Jacobs chilling there too. So you did a lot of 2-for-1s with this team, would be my guess, from where you originally started. Yeah, I mean, I just really like this team as a whole. Like, I don't really have anything negative to say about it at all, or positive. Well, I guess I have positives to say.
Yeah, they're pretty deep at running back. I'd say probably more assured at running back than they are at wide receiver, even though they're deep at wide receiver.
Yeah,
Could probably make a play to upgrade there.
like realistically, I would have Waddle in over Thielen, and I'd have Josh Jacobs in the flex. But yeah, I think this team's more than fine as it is. Should be able to win the league. Not really concerned. If anything, theoretically tier up from Sam Laporta. But like that's really Yeah.
But even that is fine. I mean, he's like a top 5-ish tight end. Like, there's not a ton of room to change there.
So, what up, Harville? And why are you quitting fantasy football on us?
Fill
Don't
up
do that.
those bench slots for sure. No reason to have them.
We got Lamar Jackson, Austin Eckler, Brees Hall, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Darren Waller, Amari Cooper. Super flex league. I mean, this team is beyond cracked. Like, in theory, the bench needs work. Keyword theory. But, like, yeah, this team's really, 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 really good. Um, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and move on. This is your team. You need help with your bench, Nick. I mean, I don't really know how you need help with the bench when your starting lineup looks like this.
I mean, you could get out of Williams.
Yeah. I guess maybe like take a bunch of these pieces on your bench and I'd build up your flex spot, if anything, just because I think that Eckler and Brees are phenomenal. I think Cup and Chase are ridiculous at your wide receiver. I think, yeah, I would just consider getting like a different running back to build up that flex spot that I can plug in for Brees and Eckler if that was needed. But like, that won't be needed unless if one of them goes down, and that way you have a hedge for that that you can plug into the flex spot if needed as well. That's really all I would do here. Like, this is just a very strong team. And I wouldn't really even be trying to move away from Amari Cooper. I hope that Darren Waller stays as strong as he has been with Tyrod Taylor as well. Overall, like, this is just a very, very strong team. I would be very surprised if you have a losing record somehow. If you actually, I could see. I don't know. You've probably made some decent trades. This is just a very, very strong team.
Does Daniel Jones come back this week, maybe, or no?
You're
It's kind
24.
of. It seemed a little uncertain, but
Yeah, I think this team will definitely be able to pick it up. In theory, maybe even. I think Darren will be fine. Um, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Jones is back, but you had Ridley, Amari Cooper, Eckler, Zach Moss, and Brett Maher. You scored 45 points this week. That's painful. That is painful. Welcome to fantasy football, where that just happens. It's a thing. Just fade yourself to be profitable in fantasy football. That's what you'll learn. But what's up, Jared? Let's see here. We got Kirko, Eckler, Brees. We got a lot of Eckler Brees combos here, which is kind of interesting.
With Cup as well.
Yeah, with Cup. Cup, Ayuk, Laporta, Waddle. This almost feels like the exact same team we saw earlier, but like the bench is the only real difference and the starting quarterback. Because everything else feels identical. Yeah, I like this team a lot. I would consider trying to get something that'll be more sustainable for the flex, if anything. That's really about it. Like, another really, really strong team. Both running backs pass the bye. Maybe get another running back who's got a coming on to a bye soon, and trying to theoretically help that team out a little bit, but also kind of buy the dip. But yeah, overall, another really, really, really strong team.
Yeah.
Not much else to say. Like,
And guys, if you want to get your team reviewed like this, just really quickly go to our TikTok bio and join the Discord, which the link for is right there, and send me a direct message at Jamario Moon, and we'll get your team on the list for tonight. There are plenty of spots open still, so get at me.
get after him. All right, let's see what's going on. The basketball started. Basketball has started. Damn. Can you believe you're 3-4? This is your team. I mean, without Cooper Kupp, that is going to be a big differentiator in reality. So I'm not too surprised. Sorry if that's rude. Well, that's how my brain works. We got Jared Goff, Etienne, Saquon, Adams, Evans, Schultz, Judy, Gabe. And
What's the most ideal landing spot for Jerry Judy fantasy wise?
uh, Carolina.
Is there any reason they would trade for someone right now, though?
They're looking for a veteran receiver or theoretical superstar, which he's not. But they are looking for a receiver.
He's something.
Trying to
Texans.
think who else. I honestly think the Texans are happy with what they have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they'll draft a receiver if anything.
Yeah, I don't think they're
Um,
going to be deviating away from that.
I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. There's not really a place that jumps out too much. Buffalo maybe,
I don't
but
even think
I don't think he
Buffalo.
is really that relevant. The Chiefs could be interesting.
Uh, I feel like the Chiefs have
Cleveland,
just gotten tired of adding receivers, and
The
they're just
Giants.
trying to make Giants.
yeah.
Honestly, does make sense. Like it would be fine. Um, who knows? Maybe the Bucks will take a
Dallas,
swing.
Dallas could be cool. Gallup's been awful.
Yeah, that could make a little bit of sense. Same with, I feel like Baltimore, Dallas, and Baltimore kind of make sense for similar reasons.
Yeah. Torian Prince is on the court, and within the first 5 minutes, he's got 6 points, and I think what else?
He started.
Ooh, Torian Prince was starting. That's crazy.
Yeah.
6 points and a block.
I don't know who should be starting there or could be starting there. Maybe like Jared Vanderbilt or Hachimura or something like that. But yeah.
It's actually me. Um, but going back to this team without focusing too much on basketball, um, I just don't like Jerry. That's really the only thing I don't really like too much on this team. I do think that Kyle Pitts is actually starting to become slightly more of a thing, which is kind of a bright note for this team. Same thing with Luke Musgrave. But the rest of
Did
this,
you think that hit was that bad? That didn't feel crazy to me.
which hit again?
He had some bad hit, Kareem Jackson. He'd had some bad hits earlier in the year. I think they maybe just wanted to send a message, but he got suspended for 4 games after a hit this week on Musgraves. It wasn't that crazy.
I think regardless of it, like just the NBA as a whole is always just going to be, I'm not NBA, NFL is just going to be very on your ass with all that. I do think that Bijan is going to play this weekend. I think that was just a tactical thing.
I think I mean, in general, this team just needs to be diligent on waivers. There's not a ton on the bench that you can really
Package
use
together.
to upgrade. Maybe you can sell high on ETN or I mean tier down with Devontae or someone like that. Because the bench isn't anything super special, and the flexes are a little questionable there. But yeah, just be diligent on waivers. Hopefully, try to hit on a couple of those guys that you can look to move, or yeah, maybe think about tearing down.
Yeah. Overall, it's a solid team. Like it really is a more than fine team. But like, yeah, if anything, try to like take a. Don't include Luke Musgrave or risk Cal Pitts, but like try to combine these and to build up something better for your flex, if anything. But that's going to be hard to do. But moving on, that might have been our last team. I think Jackson's added a couple for us. Let's see here. You got Hurts, Eckler, Brees, Diggs, Thielen, Pitts, Cooper, Watson, Superflex League. What is it? No, the bench. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is a fine team here. I would be trying to improve my tight end to something a little bit more sustainable, if I'm being honest. Just because I think your wide receivers are fine. And then your running backs are past that point that we've talked a lot about with these other Brees, Eckler combos. Yeah, it's a very, 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 very strong team. Not really much to harp on for this thing. Anything else you guys would say?
It's on Discord. Let me take a quick look. Yeah, I mean, if you already said the 3 quarterbacks thing, that jumps out at me
Well, it's
immediately.
Superflex.
Oh, you're super flex, okay. Never mind. I'll keep my mouth shut on this one.
I mean, we've seen that same running back combo
Like every team.
a
It feels
ton,
like.
and it's about as good of a combo as you could possibly have. So, I mean, those two alone are going to win you a lot of weeks, and who knows, maybe Adam Thielen is just good at football now. So, it might be time to stop trying to sell high and just sit on the
Just
positive
hold on
aspect
to him.
that he has. So,
Do you think
T
Jonathan
Higgins,
Mingo becomes a thing post rookie buy bump or whatever?
yeah, I think he totally could be. A lot of teams, like you said, try to install new things and get new guys involved after a bye, especially a team that hasn't won yet and with a young quarterback and everything like that. So I wouldn't be shocked, but I mean, even if Mingo becomes good, I still think Thielen is still pretty relevant for now. So I mean, I would kind of be stoked with that asset. T. Higgins is a guy that I think will be better. I mean, there's no reason he wouldn't be. He missed the last game or two, and Burrow looked much more healthy last week, and they're coming off a bye, and I like where they're sitting. So
Yeah.
I would expect him to be a lot better, and I would definitely be starting him over Amari and probably Thielen as well this week. But Javonte looked good this week too.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means as much for his future, but he scored and he looked much more explosive with the ball, and it was easily his best game. So you might have something there as well.
True. Rui Hachimura has entered the game for LeBron James.
Let's go.
But yeah, really not too much to do with this team. Like it as a whole. Like a lot of us sending pieces here. Only thing that's kind of screwing you actually on this team is Deshaun Watson, who we're still trying to figure out. We got Deshaun Watson, Bijan, JT, Cup, Amon-Ra, Waller, Dotson, Watson. So, I mean, your flexes aren't particularly the best. And, I mean, you can kind of look at the bench. I think JSN will be able to replace Jahan Dotson. Let's see here. 2 bench spots weren't up to, just dropped them off. Okay, so this must be your mom's refrigerators team, would be my guess here. Yeah, I really like this team. I would be a bit worried about Watson, in which case I would have another quarterback kind of prepped to take his place in this short form here. Damn, Reggie Jackson even getting some run in the NBA. Yeah, but Kyler isn't going to be mobile. That's really the issue about Kyler. I don't think he's going to be super mobile right out the gate like everyone's expecting.
Do you think he play? I still don't even think he plays this week. Like I think it's going to be another week or two.
I doubt he plays this week. I'd be very surprised. It'll be a few weeks if he does play, and I don't think he's going to be nearly as great as everyone is expecting him to be right out the gate. Like, what made him relevant for fantasy football was his ability to run. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him as a guy that's super relevant at any point this year, but he was a guy in like keeper leagues or dynasty leagues. If you were starting fresh this year, that is like a perfect late round pick that you could have going into next year because he obviously wasn't going to play much this year. But as far as relevance this year, I mean, he's not a guy I'm too focused on.
True. But yeah, overall, like, this is 14 man. I really like this team. I think Jason's coming into form for you. I think Dotson can ride on your bench. And Singletary's starting to look like a guy. Let's see here. 2 top heavy. No, I think this team is just very strong and should be able to win the majority of the weeks. Like, especially if Watson actually can, like, start getting going for you here. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just very strong in your, like, basic core of your running backs and wide receivers.
I still think even though the Kyler rushing upside isn't totally going to be there, like I think he's been running the ball a little bit more by like week 12, 13, something like that. And I mean, he's a guy that I would be comfortable playing over Deshaun Watson in a lot of weeks. So, I mean, still worth keeping there and fill up that extra bench spot.
Yeah.
For sure.
But overall, sorry, checking through things here. I like it. Move to our next one. We got Stroud, Kamara, Henry, Waddle, Amon-Ra, Laporta, Higgins. Another very solid kind of roundabout team here. Just like I think Henry's going to be on a different team at this point, so I'm not really trying to sell out of him anymore. And his value's been okay. It hasn't been terrible. Um,
Cam Akers 10 carries yesterday, a couple catches, I think like 3 or 4 targets. Um, I mean that was the best that offense has looked. So maybe they think that Akers needs to be getting the ball a little bit more. Who
yeah,
knows? That could turn into a potential positive asset.
yeah. I would just try to fix on like somebody that can fit in that flex spot, but like be put in that running back spot if needed. That's really about it. Nothing too crazy. Um, I don't know. I like this team. Let's see here. If DK is not playing, I would be starting JSN. I haven't looked too much into the matchups for this week, but I will have a video out on that tomorrow. Yeah, I would just be trying to build up the running backs on this team, if anything. Like nothing really too revelational on this kind of roster here. We got Lamar, Mixon, Taylor, Cup, Amon-Ra, Ingram, Chris Olave.
What are your thoughts on Mixon? He's one of my least favorite dudes to like have on my team just because it's such a tough watch. He's like
Yeah.
3 yards, clouded dust. Sometimes he'll score and stuff, but he does nothing like electric. Like when he has the ball, you're never like scared or excited he's gonna break it for something.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just haven't heard anything about him this year that's been like, oh yeah, he's actually like looked good. It's just been like Mixon
He gets carries.
exists.
Yeah.
Like literally nothing else. And I think that speaks volumes about his play for this season. But for this team, I don't mind having him there. I guess kind of bouncing off that point, I would prefer to have like another running back on this team because I imagine this team probably started a little slow having both JT and Cup on it.
Hmm.
Yeah, like you need another running back in theory here. You can't really tear down from Lamar Jackson because Deshaun Watson just isn't looking even close to what he once was. But yeah,
The one thing about Mixon is, I mean, he's only scored 1 touchdown this year, and I would expect that will change regardless of how effective or anything he is. Like he's going to start scoring more touchdowns as the offense gets better, and all signs are pointing towards the offense improving. So he'll get more red zone opportunities, and in turn more touchdowns, and those points will start to go up a little bit. So
he'll get there, is what we're trying to tell you. Don't worry, sweet child.
he'll be getting 12 points a game pretty much every week.
Nothing too
That's
good. Where was the public believing? No faith in Denver from the public. But overall, we will move forward. We got Tua, Jameer Gibbs, DeAndre Swift, Jamar Chase, Amon St. Brown, Mark Andrews, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, very strong team here. I think you need something more. Just like I would have JT in my flex, and I mean in my starting running back spot, and Jameer Gibbs just from an order standpoint. And like Tyron will be back in time.
This team's insane.
This is just a very strong team. In theory, like receiver, like not really much we need to go over here. Not.
I would be trading off of London after a couple good weeks and Addison maybe even 2 because after that game it seems like Jefferson will be back at some point. I mean, if Jefferson was never going to come back, I think Addison is like potentially top 15 the rest of the season even or something like that. But I would be comfortable trading him, especially if they win this week or something like that. And he's not starting for you, and he's a guy that I think a lot of people would be comfortable starting. So maybe get rid of him and someone maybe even sell high on Gibbs, him and Gibbs for an elite running back you could upgrade to. Maybe the Eckler owner who's not impressed after 2 weeks of Eckler, and yeah, look for an upgrade like that maybe.
Yeah. But it was just cracked more than anything. Like very solid roster here, my friend. Not really too much more to say. I think that might have been our actual last. Now, Jackson keeps adding more on here. You have us go over. Let's see here. We got Stroud, White, B. Rob, Monra, Keenan Allen, Goddard, Brandon Ayuk. And you got DJ Moore as the only real piece that's relevant on your bench. Oh, Grant just said, peace, bitches. Let's see here.
Oh shoot, it was Grant. I was, dude, I've been on the Discord for like 10 minutes. It was Grant saying stuff in the private chat.
I have no idea.
Okay. Was that, yeah. I couldn't tell if that was internet or him leaving to go to the game.
One of the two. Overall, like, solid team. I just try to build up the running back depth here. It's a little bit difficult to do, but like I think you can probably get it done with DJ Moore and the combination of something else, or maybe even Brandon Ayuk. It's just like I don't think that Rachaad White and Brian Robinson are going to be championship style running backs to really get you home for what you need. So I'd either do 1-for-2s in this situation. I mean, yeah, 1-for-2s, in which case you're trading out of like Keenan Allen, Amon, or St. Brown. Or I would be like pairing like DJ Moore or Brandon Ayuk with something to try to build up this running back room to make it a little bit more sustainable. Let's see.
I would agree.
We got Grant back here now. Let's see here. We got Herbert, McCaffrey, Hall, Cup, Allen, Kincaid, Waddle, Flowers. Yeah, this team's just cracked. I'm just gonna click through it. Yeah, I'm just gonna click through this. Let's see here. Purdy, McCaffrey, Cup, Hawkinson, Thielen. Jesus. Yeah, like if your team is cracked, I am generally just gonna like click through it because there's not really much that needs to be said, and I don't feel like wasting either of our times.
You guys down to do? I think there's one more.
So you just put one more on there.
Okay, you guys cool with one more after this too?
Yeah, we can throw one more in.
This is also the one you're looking at now. I believe is a 6-man.
A 6-man?
Yeah, I think so.
How do you end up with Dalton Schultz as your tight end in a 6-man?
Oh wait, sorry, no, that might have been the last one we looked at. Or, yeah, disregard that.
Yeah,
not a 6-man.
I completely skipped this one because I looked at it and I was like, this is just too cracked of a team, and I just went on to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, as a 6-man, like, are people starting Kenneth Walker? I have no idea. It's hard to analyze too much there because obviously a great player, but
yeah. But going into this team, another very cracked team. In theory, build up your tight end spot. I don't really know how you do that here, but that's,
Kincaid.
Yeah, I'd go get Kincaid. Actually, I think that's worth it. Yeah, not really too much else to say about this team either. See, I think Jackson said there was one more team. There is.
Yep.
So will be our last team here. We got Lamar, JT, Hunt, Cup, AJ Brown, Jacoby on the bench. No tight end here though, which I find interesting.
Maybe waiting on a Kincaid waiver claim.
On a little bit of Kincaid action.
Jacoby has been like very reliable, honestly.
Yeah, Jacoby's honestly been really good. Like,
but definitely a flex option in deeper leagues for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, really not too much to say about this team either.
You've gotten super lucky with, I mean, I guess Ashawn will be back and then he'll slot into that RB2 slot maybe, but I love Hunt coming up these next couple weeks. I think he could have some massive weeks with Ford out, and then if he plays really well and the team looks good and the offense looks better, I'd see no reason why he wouldn't be the lead back the rest of the year. So definitely a positive asset there that you kind of lucked into. So, I mean, I'm comfortable starting him the next couple weeks for sure, and he'll get you right back to where Ashawn will be returning. So,
but yeah, that's really all to say about this team. Like, obviously, you got to build up this tight end spot. You need Wise Grams went out with your running back. But overall, it's an okay team. I like Marquise Brown at this point. I think Rashee Rice is a fine ascending asset. The rest are kind of for me here, though. But Dobbs is actually probably popping up a little bit more now that Watson seems to be injured once again. But we appreciate all the likes, the gifts, and the follows here, guys. Even though these are typically a lot smaller streams, we appreciate all those who do hang out with us. We got the Gato and the Cat here telling y'all how good or bad your fantasy football teams are here. But yeah, Grant's going to go give us a little bit of a scouting report on the Warriors here. We're getting the tail. But we will be putting the YouTube video out pretty much immediately here. So I'm going to click the end of the recording here now. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't already.